all we have is now. That's it. That's the only moment you have. And what you're doing when you're spinning all of those plates is thinking about the future nows. All you got is this one. And so be in this one and experience it as it is.
Welcome to the Raising Wild Hearts podcast. I'm so glad you're here listening in as I get to the heart of the matter with the world's leading experts and authors in personal growth, transformation, positive psychology, and more. If you're a change maker, a cycle breaker, a revolutionary envisioning a more beautiful way to live, work, and play, well, me too. I'm your host, Ryan Watkin, and for the past decade, I've been alchemizing challenges to find the calm in the chaos. I believe we can change the world by starting at home in our own minds and hearts. And my hope is that these conversations are a light on your path. Let's go, wild ones. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Raising Wild Hearts podcast. Today, I am sitting down with Deb Porter for the second time. So you guys know this conversation is going to be absolutely epic. Deb and I cover so much ground today. We talk about emotional intelligence, what it is, how to regulate our emotions, how to co-regulate. That's regulating with somebody else. We talk about the emotional vibration scale, which I think is absolutely fascinating. And then stick around for the end where we talk about emotional perfectionism, which I know so many of you will resonate with because it resonated with both Deb and I. So for all you recovering perfectionists out there, just wait till you hear about this. Deb Porter is an expert in active listening for over 25 years. She is the founder of Hold, which stands for Hearing Out Life Drama, and she helps people to discover the power of listening in their personal and professional lives. Deb also teaches active listening and emotional intelligence, which results in positive communication outcomes. Yes, please. Deb also provides a safe, non-judgmental space so that those who use Hold's confidential listening service can gain clarity and find relief from overwhelming situations. Deb is also what I'm going to call an absolute emotions wizard or emotions ninja. She's been doing this work for a long time, and she brings so much wisdom and richness to the conversation. So I cannot wait for you guys to hear round 2 of Deb Porter and I on the Raising Wild Hearts podcast.
Please note, the opinions and perspectives of guests on the Raising Wild Hearts podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of Ryan Watkin or anyone associated with the Raising Wild Hearts podcast.
Hello, Deb. Welcome back to the Raising Wild Hearts podcast.
I'm so excited to be here, Ryan. Thanks for having me back again. I had such fun talking with you last time, and I can't wait to dive into this topic today.
Me too. I'm very excited. Something that I noticed when I was prepping for this interview is when we talked last time, which was May 6th, 2024. If you have not heard Deb's first episode, go back and listen to Mastering the Art of Active Listening after you listen to this one, of course. But it was such a rich conversation. And there was a solar eclipse at that time. And I think I even mentioned it in the episode, and we're just coming off of a solar eclipse. And so I don't know what it is with me and you, Deb, but we got some energy in the cosmos that's just supporting us. And last conversation was great. And this conversation will be great as well.
That's so funny. That's amazing. I love that the universe is just supporting all of what we're doing.
I know. It's beautiful. And yes, so the last time we talked about your background, the twists and turns it took, the journey bringing you back and starting Hold, Hearing Out Life Drama. We talked about the power of conversations to heal, and we talked about so much more. It was such a rich conversation. So yes, go back and listen to that if you haven't already. And then this time, we're talking about, drum roll please, I would do one if I could, but I can't. Okay, so we're talking about emotional intelligence. And let's start, Deb, by defining from where you're sitting. What is emotional intelligence?
So If your listeners aren't familiar, Daniel Goleman wrote a book in the 90s, and he is like, that was the genesis, really, the beginning of understanding of what emotional intelligence is. His book is still the standard, even after all of these years. It really is. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and influence our own emotions, and then the emotions of others. That is Daniel's pretty much definition. It stands today. In his book, he talks about 4 key components: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and then relationship management as those components. So I just highly, highly, highly recommend his book. It was life-altering for me way back when I found it. I didn't find it until about 2004 or 5 when my daughter was young.
Okay, awesome. Beautiful definition. I'm going to go back and put that book on my list and on our list, Raising Wild Hearts crew, because we've got a book list going, and I promise I will have an actual book list one day. So it's so interesting that he wrote that book in the 90s, because so many of us, including myself, say like, oh, well, our parents didn't like know that much. And I'm like, okay, well, there was also a book written on emotional intelligence in the 90s. So there's that, and which I think is great. I love that it has been around for decades now. That brings me solace. And I think some of you skeptics out there solace as well, because many of these theories aren't really theories anymore. They've been proven time and time again. So I think it's really cool. There's a myth that emotional regulation is about controlling our emotions and never feeling like crap. Deb, what is that all about?
Show me a human being who can do that. I want to meet that person.
Yes, me too.
I'm sorry, that's funny. It's not possible.
It is.
Yeah, shit's gonna happen. I just say it right out loud. Right. My mom used to say there's 2 rules in life. Rule number 1 is shit's gonna happen, and rule number 2 is you can't change rule number 1. Like, that is the way it is.
Thank you, Mom. Exactly. Right? Shit's gonna happen. Yes. It's
and
so true.
Yeah. And so what about when it does? So then if we're talking about emotional intelligence, then what we're talking about is really understanding what that is in our life, why it's here and what it's teaching us. What is it that we're to learn from this moment that we don't like, that we're uncomfortable with, or that's presenting us with real challenge? If it's all right, I'd like to share an example from my personal life that might help your listeners. So I was thinking about this ahead of our conversation, and I don't know if your listeners know, but I'm divorced and I have 2 kids. And it was not long after the divorce happened. And then it was months after I came back to the home and my kids were here. My ex moved out. And my daughter expressed her anger, her rage. It wasn't anger. Let's be real. It was rage. She expressed her rage to me. And it was like full force fire hose rage at me, right? It was like all coming. And so it wasn't about trying to control that or to suppress that. It was about allowing that to be, holding on to myself, right? Letting her truth be hers, and also knowing mine, and knowing that I could withstand whatever it was she was saying, and we would both be okay. Like, I had to hold that for both of us in that moment. Now, you tell me if that makes sense or not to you.
1000%. One of the things that when I started this journey, I found the emotional intelligence work that was kind of one of the things that I stumbled upon in the beginning of my growth journey. So let's call it like a little over a decade ago. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy that there's so many feelings. And I was fascinated by it because I've always been deeply feeling since childhood. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I initially, and still even to this day, was really good at was regulating by myself, with no one witnessing. Just like really working through the emotions I had and just having it be by myself. And so one of the things that I am learning to do is regulate in relationship, which is what we would call co-regulation. And right. So for me, and I think many of us listening here today, we have this like, oh, well, I can like kind of deal with my own stuff. But then when someone else, my daughter, my partner, my coworker, name the person, comes at me with this thing that I wasn't expecting, how do I, like you said, stand in my truth, my perspective, and then honor and witness this person who might be going a little crazy, for lack of a better term, right? So yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I think that it's really important to understand that there's work that has to come before. Like, you don't just get there and do it. Like, it's a practice, and it's a continual showing up for yourself in those quiet moments, so that when you do get to the moments that are with others, you're ready.
Yep. Hey, it's me, Ryan. So something I do every single day to invest in my growth, besides connecting with the humans on this podcast, obviously, is reading. Reading is where it all started for me. I was 5 when I became obsessed with books, writing them, reading them, collecting them. I love how I can get inspired with new ideas and stories and ways to grow. That's why I ask all my guests what they're reading. And finally, you can check out all the book recommendations from the experts and authors on the show in one place at raisingwildhearts.com/books. There are some life changers in there like You Are the Placebo, and a few hidden gems like Sacred Motherhood and Living, Loving, and Learning. So if you want to get your hands on your next great read, check out the full list by heading to raisingwildhearts.com/books. Okay, back to the show. Yep, I love that. I call that these days finding my center. So I'm on, everybody out there, you're probably sick of hearing me listening to this, but I'm on, like, I keep losing track, but week 16, I think, of a daily meditation practice. And this meditation is only 3 minutes a day, and I'm waking up before everybody in the house and I'm doing this meditation. And I mean, I'm telling you, as like N of 1 here, it's working to really help me stay in my center. 3 minutes a day. I mean, that's wild. And so I have witnessed myself be more able to witness others and, you know, be space holding, if you will. So yeah, it is a big practice. You know, yesterday, my oldest child was like kind of having a moment, and she was like a little like whiny, and it started to like really grate on me. And I was like going, oh my gosh, like this is a lot. This is a lot for 7 a.m. And I felt myself say like, and I, afterwards I reflected on this and I could have done better. But what I did say is, listen, I woke up and I meditated this morning and I got myself ready and I, you know, had breakfast and I went for a walk. And so no matter what you're going to throw at me right now, I can handle it. And I was just trying to like tell her that so that she knew like that she had a safe place to express. But it was funny because I felt myself still a little heightened even while saying that. Like I said it and then I was like, well, I was still a little heightened, and she could have probably sensed that. And so I love how you called it. I think you said it's a practice, and we're not like coming out of the gate as like emotion superheroes.
You know, one of the things that I think is the most powerful, and I might have mentioned this in our last episode, is it's memory, right? Because we have the gift of memory, we are able to then circle back around so that when we have experiences with someone we care about, and we didn't quite do it the way we wanted to, and I had so many of those when I was raising my kids, sometimes I still do, but then to be able to go back and go, really wish I wouldn't have done that way, right? Like, this is what I said, and this is what I reflected on later, and this is what I really want you to know. And that's repair work, right? But that's the beauty of our memory.
Totally. Yeah. I love that. Love the word repair. I'm all for it. So it's interesting because another myth that I have noticed lately that I totally kind of believed was that regulation equals calm. And what's your take on that? Because what I have come to kind of unpack with that statement is like, regulation doesn't equal calm. Regulation equals dealing with your emotions in an appropriate and healthy way. right? So what's your take on that? Do you think regulation equals calm or that it equals something else?
I would say self-awareness and the ability to, if not get back to calm, to still manage yourself in a way that presents in a demeanor that's not dysregulated. How's that?
Get off
Twisted it all
the
around.
dysregulation train, people. Yes. Yeah, I like that. And you said, the first thing you said was regulation equals self-awareness and the ability to get back to calm. That's what I heard you say.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's like, okay, I might not be calm in this moment right now, but I'm feeling that I'm slightly elevated. And so I know what I can do. Take a walk, take a breath, take a glass of water to get back to calm. So now I can take another try at whatever's going on.
And that might be quick. It might be, in the moment you may be able to do that. And it may be, no, I got to step really further back, further away. Yeah.
Yeah. My husband and I have it's not a code word. It's like, I need to step away right now for a minute. And we've been saying that to each other. Like if one of us is having a really hard time with our Tonka truck of a toddler who is very much a toddler right now, in his emotional expression, we'll be like, hey, I'm going to go step away real quick. And sometimes we just need to take a beat and close the door and go, whew, all right, okay, come back to center, go back out, put your game face on and try again.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
100%. That's so smart. I'm so proud of you. Keep doing that. All of our listeners who have young toddlers out there, do that, because that is how you make sure that you raise emotionally intelligent children and you help them to know that it's okay. And if you can't step away, reach for something different, like turn on some music, right? Dance it out. Find another way to shift the energy, shift the emotion, honor the emotion. Sometimes emotions don't just shift, but by bringing something else into the room, it can sometimes, especially with little ones. I think this works really well with little ones. If you've got a teenager, maybe don't try the music. Just saying.
It's so funny. I love those, I don't even know what it is, a reel of I don't know if you guys have seen these, but when I put on music and it's some old 90s song or something, it's what I hear and it's the song, and then it's what my teenager hears and it's this 50s doo-wop or something. They don't like our music. I don't have any teenagers yet, but I already know they're starting not to like our music, and it's very funny.
So fun.
Yeah.
So my kids are actually, my daughter's going to be 25 this year in October, and my son is going to be 20 in next month. So I have taken the journey, and I am so happy and so proud. There's nothing that I'm prouder about in my life than my kids. And I did not do it perfectly. And what I learned as I was going through it is I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to get it perfect. I was just supposed to do it good enough. And because, a wise person had taught me about the pendulum, right? So it had gone kind of crappy in my younger years. And so I had the challenge then of not overcorrecting, but to try to find the middle part that would just be good enough. And I feel like with my kids, I did that. So
you did it, Deb. Let's throw a party. I feel like there needs to be some confetti or I don't know, something, because I'm always fascinated by humans who have raised humans all the way through. I mean, I know you'll always be their parent. You'll always be their mom. And also with someone, me, with 3 kids, 10 and under, I'm so very in it. And lately I've been noticing that I'm having this thing where I'm just going really fast, trying to solve everybody's problem and move on to the next. And I hear myself a little, just do this. Okay, on to the next. And because somebody is always having something that we need to talk about. And I said to my husband, I'm I feel I'm kind of blowing everybody off. I'm going they're one more story. And I'm gotta go back to lunches. I'm kind of racing through everything right now. And in the past couple weeks, and I'm reflecting on that, going okay, this is the time that I'm going to like look back on, because I already do this. I'm going to look back on this time and I'm going to go, oh, look at that time. Look at that time. And what I've promised myself to try and do, to practice to do, is to be in the time, in the real time, going, can I just get like can I just get one more story or one more snuggle or whatever it is, and being like, this is the time now, instead of looking back or having this like, can't this just speed up or can't this slow down? Like being here now. And we've got so many like spinning plates up in the air and so many balls flying everywhere, like juggling wise. And so it, some days it can feel like a challenge to do that. So what would you say to somebody who is ultra busy, who is ultra, tapped out of their capacity because they have so many needs being met that aren't even their own, really?
All we have is now. That's it. That's the only moment you have. And what you're doing when you're spinning all of those plates is thinking about the future nows.
Yeah.
All you got is this one. And so be in this one and experience it as it is. I think my perspective on this is a bit different because of my husband's illness. So he was, I think I might have shared in the last episode that he was chronically ill. And so we lived with a pretty real thing that he might not be there tomorrow. And with that heightened my awareness of I had to be in the now if I wanted to experience what was in front of me, and I couldn't. So I had this, what's flashing in my head. I'll just share it because it's right there and it's so strong and it's so deep. And we're talking about emotional intelligence. So he had been, my daughter was 3 and he had an experience where he was in the intensive care, bounced in and out of the intensive care unit for about 20 days. And we got him out of the hospital and we were walking at the zoo, and he was walking in front of me with my daughter holding her hand. And in that moment, it was so powerful because I had this moment of not knowing if we were ever going to have that again, if we would ever have the experience of being present and being there. So yeah, you can worry about the lunches, you can worry about the whatever, but if you can be present in your now and realize that this moment, this love, this experience just comes in this now, and there'll be a next now. And when that next now comes, you'll be ready for it. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, Ryan, but that's what's on my heart. So that's what I'm sharing.
Yeah. You helped me see those plates in the air and the juggling balls as things that actually aren't in this now, but are things that maybe have already happened, and then things that are about to happen, you know? And even if it's in 2 minutes or in 5 minutes, I get to go pack the lunches. It's right now I'm sitting, reading a story, doing bedtime and everything like that. Yes. And it makes me think about, like, before we hit record, I was like, I just have to write this thing down so it gets out of my brain. Same kind of thing. Like, because I have a tendency to like play tennis in my brain of like all these things going round and round and round. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that is in part due to being very used to what I would call like and I don't want to identify myself as an anxious person, but someone who feels and is very comfortable with anxiety. Even though this worry of the future doesn't feel good, it's something that has been very comfortable in my experience. And so it's almost like this default network that I go to in my brain because it's been there for so long.
Well, the beautiful thing about that is you can tell that story how you want it to be. So how do you want the story to be? You want the story to be like, I'm present and I'm going to read another story and the lunches will wait. And when I get to the lunches, it'll go easy and it'll be quick and it'll be fine. And I'll put love in the lunches just like I'm putting love in this moment right now, reading this story. And just tell that story. Tell the story how you want it to be right now and how you want it to be next. And then it will become that.
Yes, I love that. That's a perfect reframe because it doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, all these thoughts are stressing me out. It's like, the calm, adding the love into the lunch, adding the love into the moment right now. I love that. Okay. Yeah. So you said the word energy earlier, and I'm so glad you did, because look at what I printed out. I mean, you people listening can't hear, but we're going to talk about it. I printed out this. Can you see, Deb?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you seen this before?
I have, actually. I don't remember where it comes from, but I have seen that before. Yes.
Okay. So I don't remember where it originated, but I'll tell you what it is. It's the emotional vibration chart. And it says all these different emotions, and it's showing kind of a cone of, the smaller vibration or the lower vibration emotions start down at the bottom, and then it goes up all the way to, enlightenment. I don't think any of us are here. I mean, maybe the monks on the mountaintop. So the top one is enlightenment. The bottom one is shame. And the whole idea is that the different emotions that we feel vibrate at a certain frequency. Mm-hmm. And when we're vibrating at a certain frequency, we attract like little magnets, like more of that frequency. So when we're having like a really good day and our hair's just looking so good, and the person at the coffee shop like pays for our tea, and then we meet a really kind person who's going to be on the podcast, and then our kids are like little angels and they're all getting along all day, and everything just like falls into place. And it's like one of those days that's just like, you're like vibing. And this is where it comes from, is that like when we're happy, when we're feeling joy, we attract more of that. So, and then the bottom ones, let's talk about the bottom ones. Dun, dun, dun. Shame.
Let's not, because we don't want to attract that stuff. Let's not. I'm serious. Let's don't go there. Let's don't go there at all. We know it happens, but the important thing then is to shift it immediately. So you can't, if you're vibrating down at the bottom, what you want to do is, because you can't go from the shame or whatever all the way up to joy or to love or to enlightenment, as I would say the enlightenment is the love. You can't just make that jump. It's not possible. So what is one thought that you can find that feels just a little bit better? What's one thing that you can find that just feels that gives you relief? This is Abraham Hicks. If anybody's listening, you might even recognize the verbiage, the language. It's the same. I am a firm believer in all of the teachings of Abraham. It's very wise.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Love that you're like, let's not go there. Cause that was really my question of like, nobody wants to go there. We don't want to be there. And sometimes when we're there, we're like, oh my God, we're here. And then we get more, we pile on more guilt or whatever the emotion is, more shame on top of it because we're feeling it. And so I love that you're like, you just get out of it quick. So you're like here, you recognize it, and then you take that tiny step up the ladder. So like, oh gosh, look at the sunrise. I'm always like looking at things in nature. Look at that flower. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Listen to my kid giggling. Oh, my dog's wagging his tail. Very, very simple things.
And sometimes you just need a nap. Sometimes you really just need to reset. Because when we shut it down, we wake up in a different vibration.
Did you feel that, everybody? Take a nap today.
Take a nap. It's okay. It's okay. Yes. Really, take a nap. It's so wise to take a nap, because our inner being, our higher self, keeps going, and when we shut our human self down, it fixes the vibrational issue that we're having, and we're able to raise up. It takes, if you've been in it for a while, if you've been practicing that negativity, as Abraham says, it may take some days. Like it may take a lot of days, but if you keep practicing, if you keep doing the work, it does get better. I can promise you it gets better.
Yeah. It's like unplugging the computer. Like it's like unplugging the printer, which I had to do yesterday. It's like unplug it and then plug it back in, and it's fine. I don't know how, but it's fine. Mm-hmm. Maybe because Mercury's not in retrograde anymore almost. I don't know. I love the astrology. But yes, I took a nap yesterday. And do you want to know what my thought process was leading up to this nap, Deb? I was like, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm on the last part of my cycle. I know I'm feeling lower energy. I'm just feeling tired. I just want to lay down. And these little thoughts in my head are going, well, you could like totally just like go get, like a tea. Like you just even fold laundry. You could turn on the TV. And it was like, no, I need a nap. And so I really listened to this wiser, higher self. And I gave myself a nap, and it was like a 20-minute nap, and it was still lovely. And I woke up and I was ready to carry on.
Yeah.
Love
Isn't
it.
that amazing? Yeah,
It's amazing.
totally. It is. It's powerful stuff right there.
It's powerful. Like, we just need to revert back to like being a toddler. Like, take a nap, make sure you're fed, make sure you're hydrated, and get good sleep, and laugh a lot and play. I mean, it's really quite simple, everybody.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is, but you have to be kind to yourself. And so what happens is, so many of us had parents who didn't understand that, didn't know that, didn't teach us how to be kind to ourselves, taught us instead to not do that. And so now you got to relearn it and go back to exactly how we were as children.
Yeah, it's so true. And I hinted to being highly sensitive. And one of the things that I had I grappled with for so long was like, I didn't have the majority of the time that caregiver there to like witness that, those swings of emotions that I would have, because I was feeling the outside environment. I was feeling the home environment. I was feeling the pressure from school. I was feeling the fight from my friend. And it was all like, it all felt so big. And so I didn't have, looking back, I didn't have like an outlet to just like, you have an outlet for people to come and vent, basically, really. And so I didn't have that outlet. And so that's one of the things that led me to like, emotional intelligence is where I can start. Like, it felt like such a good jumping off place for me.
Yeah. And I think it's so important when you mentioned earlier that you feel like you know how to reset, internally for yourself, and that doing it together with another person's hard. Well, part of the reason that you learned how to do it so well for yourself is because you didn't have that help from the time you were when you were smaller.
Yep.
That was also very true for me. As I was preparing for the episode too, I was thinking about wild hearts feel deeply, absolutely, and that's a strength and not a problem. Yes, and I was thinking about the time in my own childhood where I learned where bacon came from, and I was like, I'm not eating meat anymore. Like, and I had this whole exchange with my mother, and she was very much like, yes, you are eating meat. I'm not changing. That was this whole thing. But you can imagine, like, I was this passionate, fiery
little activist,
kid.
Yeah. I'm not eating bacon. You can't make me.
Oh,
I love it. I love it.
And except that that was not received. And I was told that I was eating the bacon, and there was no not eating the bacon, and it was shut down. And so, when there's not room, right? That just tells you right there that I came from a home where the emotional intelligence was not known, was not modeled, and yet I was able to learn it. And so I want to just reinforce for any listener out there who might have had something similar, you can learn, you can change, you can be different from the experiences you had, and find the middle, not the overcorrection, but you can find the middle. So
find the middle. Yeah. You hinted to this earlier. You said when your daughter was throwing the rage at you, you said co-regulation, basically without losing yourself. And I added to that when I was prepping for the interview, like, or dissociating, because, we can space off and kind of like go onto a different planet sometimes, some of us. So let's dive deeper into that co-regulation without losing yourself part. And the part that I'm really interested in is like the not losing yourself. Like, so, we know what co-regulation is. We know it's, sitting with someone, honoring, witnessing the emotion. If you have anything to add for what co-regulation is, amazing. And then let's talk about not losing ourselves, aka what you called like standing in your truth.
So I really think it's about, it's so many people don't understand that when the energy is coming at you, you don't have to absorb it. You're not a sponge, right? It's not that. Because when we do that, then what we do is we get overwhelmed. That's not co-regulation. It's like, then it's, we're saturated with all of it, and there's no separation between this is you and this is me. There has to be, I see you, I hear you, I love you, I know you're having a hard time right now. I hear this, 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 and this, because you really want to make sure that they know that they're seen, heard, and loved. And it's okay. I accept where you are, and that self-awareness is key, right? We're going back to the definition of that emotional intelligence, having that self-awareness to be able to co-regulate, to know, okay, I'm here and I understand that their stuff is okay. It's theirs. And I may have feelings about that, right? This is where it gets tricky for people, because as soon as we start to have feelings about the other person, that's when we begin to not be able to co-regulate, because there we go. Now we're off in the bushes, right? We get thrown off the merry-go-round because it's spinning too fast. That's not what you want to do. So if it's coming at you, or if it's spinning too quick, you got to figure out, okay, how, you mentioned some techniques earlier about, taking a pause, taking a walk. Those things are so key, so important. If you don't hold on to yourself, you can help no one else ever. You simply cannot. And I found that over and over again. It's part of the reason I created my business, because when I was going through all of that drama with my husband, people really did want to help me, but what they didn't know was how to withstand my emotional turmoil, all of the feelings that I had, and hold on to themselves. They weren't able to co-regulate. This is exactly it. And it's really essential, if you really want to help someone else, to be able to do that, to understand that what they're feeling is okay. It's theirs to have, and you don't have to fix it. You don't have to take it on. Their feelings are not yours. It's not something you need to bring into yourself. You can simply let it be. And remember, all you need is love for them and for you, and it's all really okay.
There's so much there that's so beautiful and wise. The first thing you said, though, was you don't have to absorb it. And that hit home so hard for me, because as a highly sensitive person, there is this empathy that blurs the lines between you and me, self and other. I'm here, you're there. This is your experience. This is mine. It all can feel very glob. I don't even know, like enmeshed. That's probably not the right.
No, it is exactly enmeshed. Enmeshed, okay.
Yes. So, or codependent, both, probably both. So one of the things that I work on, this is why I practice yoga. It's like, we have an aura, we have an energetic field around us, and our job, I believe, as sovereign individual humans, is to keep, protect and monitor and be in charge of your field. Mind your own field, mind your own bubble, mind your own thing. And when we're doing that, it is so much easier to show up. And then a thought comes in about us judging the experience of someone else. And then we go, oh, there's that judging thought. I can let that go. Okay. Back to the experience. And we come back to witnessing the other person. And for me, so often it's just, my kids. And it's, sometimes it's easier with my kids than it is, let's say, an extended family member. I won't mention any names or anything here, but we have people that it's easier and harder with. So what would you say to someone who has that one relationship? We all know that one person in our family that we've got that history with and we've got karma with, and how do we, maybe if you figured this out, or maybe just, let's try to unpack it here. We don't have all the answers, but what would you say to that person who's spending time with somebody who just is the person that is the hardest to co-regulate with?
So I was listening actually to, again, an Abraham on this just a couple of days ago. And what Abraham was teaching that I think is just so true, and what I find has helped me in my life, is this: you want to get out ahead of that and tell the story how you want it to be before you ever get there. So before you have the interaction with them, in this situation that I was listening to on the YouTube, Abraham was this woman was presenting an issue of, I have, an addiction in the family, and I know that when I go, I'll cycle up with all of the people, and I'm nervous and I don't want to have all that happen. And so Abraham basically said, don't go. That was a funny response. And the person's like, but I have to go. Don't go. So if you have to go. But Abraham was like, okay, so you have to go. So that is what it is. All right. So then how are you going to go and not get drawn into the drama? How are you going to go and be present without getting knocked off your center. This is exactly what we're talking about. This is the essence of emotional intelligence. That's why I love Abraham so much, is that's essentially what they're teaching through all of their work. Reframing the behavior and getting to curiosity, getting to an awareness of you get to have whatever you feel, and that's okay. And I can hear you, and I don't have to get pulled into that. And telling the story and ahead before you even get there, like you don't even want to get to that. You want to get to, as you're driving in the car or you're on the plane, you're going to be talking about, I'm excited to go and be in this situation. And this time I think that this might not even come up. Or if it does, if it comes up, I'm going to just realize it right away. Hey, this is starting and I know how this plays out. And so I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to disengage and say, yeah, look, I know. And people will try and draw you back. I had an experience with someone in my home 2 days ago. And they had some drama going on in their life. And there was another person in the home who was trying to help, but they were keeping the drama going. And what needed to happen was it needed to just be disengaged from, and not like, again, that bottom stuff, but the law of attraction. And I was like literally watching the energy of the law of attraction. Like it was right there. I was like, oh, wow, I could just see this whole playing out. I was like, you got to stop this. Can you see what's happening? And all of a sudden they did. And they're like, okay. And so then it was just like, and I was like, there's momentum. There's momentum to this topic. There's momentum. And so that's what it is. It's not letting that momentum get started and get going. So tell the story how you want it to be. And if it starts going that way, get off the track.
Oh my God, I love that. So you're essentially practicing in your mind about how this interaction is going to go with this person. And you're not just practicing, you are like going over the best case scenario in your mind, like the absolute desired outcome. You are like totally your higher self. You're so present. You're so loving. And you're going over this in your head. So when you get there, you have that memory again of that experience in your head, because that's all we're doing all the time anyways, having experience in our own heads.
Yeah, you're creating it. Yeah. Yes.
Fuck,
Isn't that fun?
So easy, Deb. Come on, it's too easy. We don't need this podcast anymore. We're done. I mean, we've solved it. We solved it. That's so good.
It's so good. And and I just really want to be clear to people. This is me having studied Abraham Hicks and having integrated into my life. So if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, Deb seems really smart. The reason Deb's really smart and has gotten to where she is because she went and she studied. She went through the process, right? So you get ready to be ready for the things that you are ready for in your life. And so, in the early 2000s when I had my daughter, I was ready to be ready for Daniel Goleman talking about emotional intelligence. I was ready to think, and to be curious and to do that. It's okay to just follow the next step and the next step and the next step. You don't have to get all the way. I feel like sometimes, especially when I was younger, I wanted to be all the way at the end. I just wanted so much to be all the way at the end and to have joy and to just have that in my life and to have that be my everyday thing. And I didn't understand that I was getting there, that there was a process and that I was doing the things that would take me there. And, Abraham says, enjoy the journey. I hated the word process when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I wanted to strangle anybody who used the word to me. I didn't want it to be a process. I wanted to be there. And so, it's okay. You can have that feeling. I did. But what I can tell you is, if you can find the experience of, oh yeah, well, this is happening now and I can tell a new story. I can make this better. It gets better. So.
Yeah. Your journey sounds like such a mirror of my own. So thank you for reflecting that back to me, because I frequently look back on my journey and go like, okay, but am I there yet? Like, am I there yet? And the truth is, I don't think any one of us is going to get there yet, but we have a choice in every moment of every day to be there. We can choose to be there. And so that is it's such a beautiful, beautiful reflection, because we do want this, end result tied up in a bow and like ready to go. But when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when we take those chances, when we take those leaps, when we choose to move in the direction that our heart knows is for us, that's when that journey unfolds. And it is so interesting to be on top of the mountain, or maybe halfway up, whatever it is, looking back and going, wow, this all made sense. All of it. The
All
stumbles, the falls, it all made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is so good. And let me check our time. Okay, we're getting there. As we wrap up, I want to share a concept with you that I read about, I think it was yesterday. And I was like, oh my God, I've got my interview with Deb tomorrow. And this is so freaking perfect. So from Laura McCowan's Substack called Love Story, she's also the author of We Are the Luckiest and Push Off From Here. I highly recommend We Are the Luckiest, but I haven't read Push Off From Here yet. Anyway, and her Substack is great. She talked about emotional perfectionism. And I was like, oh my God. As soon as I read that, I was like, yes, please. That sounds like me, not yes, please. But so she put, it's the belief or internal pressure that you must feel the right emotions at the right intensity at the right time in the right way. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, that's so good. And because I consider myself definitely a recovering perfectionist. And so we can get caught up in these, I would like to call them self-development traps of this, I have to be so good. I have to be so high vibe. And then right when you think something like that, you're down in the basement, Mm-hmm. And so it's such a freaking trap. So what's your take on emotional perfectionism? And yeah, that's the question. That's it.
I wrote perfectionism on my sheet to talk about with you as well. This is the last point that I had on my notes to bring up, which I think is just so the universe just knew we needed to talk about this. So, my thought was to share perfectionism first. Really, my own awareness developed when I saw it in my daughter when she was about 4, and I was like, ugh, I see this thing, and why is she doing that? And I don't understand. And I went to my friends, and they said to me, "Have you looked in the mirror? Have you looked at yourself?" I was like, "Well, shit."
Damn it! Didn't want to do that. Anything but that.
It was really uncomfortable and really unhappy. And I was like, well, and I had to realize, well, they're right. She is being that because that is exactly what I'm showing her how to do. This is exactly how can she know how to be anything different? And absolutely, I think it doesn't matter whether it's a coloring page or whether it's our emotions and feeling like we have to get it right. If we don't allow ourselves to have our humanness, to have our feelings of, oh, well, this went wrong. And then now what, right? Because we have to model that for our kids in as much as, but it doesn't mean we have to have it perfect. It just means we have to be willing to be in it and move through it. And that's really what emotional intelligence is accepting what it is and understanding it, right? And then allowing it to move through and to move on and not let it get stuck in our vibration. I'll just use the word vibration. There you go.
Perfect. So for those of us, for everybody here who hasn't followed you yet and hasn't looked at your work yet, where's the best place for them to start?
Well, it depends. If you want to go check out the website, hearingoutLifeDrama.com, that's a great place. I have a lot of blogs there for people, lots of different topics on emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and lots of different things. In addition, if you're on social media, pick the one you like. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you hang out, I'm probably there. At Hearing Out Life Drama and or Hold Listener. If you're on Pinterest, it's Hold Listener. So anyway, yeah.
Perfect. And LinkedIn, because that's where you and I connected too.
Yes.
So,
yes,
but
indeed.
yeah, pick your favorite. There you go. Okay. So now as we officially wrap up, I'm going to ask you the 3 questions again that I ask everybody at the end of the interview. And the first one is, what's bringing you joy today?
This interview's brought me so much joy. How marvelous to be able to, I just feel so blessed from our conversation. Like it was real, it was raw again. And I love how you show up in your podcast. Like this is truly one of my favorites. Thank you so much.
I'm crying. Thank you, Deb. So receiving that, and it's bringing me so much joy as well. Okay, now what is on your bookshelf? What are you reading right now?
Well, I already admitted that I'm a huge Abraham Hicks fan, and so I haven't been reading as much as I've been listening and taking in over and over the YouTube. So I don't know if I said that might have been where I was last year too, because I have been literally studying in a very intense way the teachings of Abraham.
Amazing. I don't remember what you had said the first time, but I'm interested to go back and hear. That would be good. And I love too hearing the variety of answers like throughout all the seasons of the show, because it's just so fascinating how everybody has a different thing they're working on and so many amazing books. And yeah, so thank you for that. Abraham Hicks, and of course we have on the list now Daniel Goleman and his book, and I'll link that up in the show notes below. And then the last question I have for you, Deb, is who or what has taught you the most?
Oh, how does one answer that question after 53 years? I'm I'm old, Ryan.
53 years, spring chicken, Deb.
I feel like it. People tell me I look like it.
Yeah.
I feel very young. I feel the best I have in my entire life. But in terms of, so I had a mentor. Her name was Lenora. I probably, if you asked me this question, probably was her last time
I
too.
did. You're going to have to go back and listen. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Her name was Lenora, and she was so incredibly wise. I learned so very much from her. She set me on the path to be able to get to where I am today. As I told her at one point, I have a mother who gave me birth, but you gave me life. And so she was extremely important to me. And so I don't know that, my kids, of course, extreme influence. I mean, it's hard because they taught me so much day to day, right? Like but it was her influence, I think, that really, I had she helped me heal. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much to all the teachers and the mentors and the guides and the angels and the, just those farther along in the journey that as we are, because I've had so many of those people too. I mean, I think a handful of really, really memorable ones, and they are there when you're ready to follow them, and they're holding up the light on the path to show you the way. And so to find someone like that and to discern that, like, yes, this is where I am right now, and this is the person who is helping me, is like, it's such a gift. And I hope that for everyone listening, that you have those people too that you're thinking about in your mind and heart right now. So thank you so much again, Deb, for being here. This conversation, of course, was just absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, it's Ryan. What an epic conversation. I hope that you have one or two takeaways that you will keep close to your heart this week as you go out into the world and love yourself, your people, and your communities well. Also, I have a favor to ask that will take you less than 3 minutes. I would be so grateful if you would head over to womenpodcasters.com/awards and vote for me in the Best Personal Development Podcasters category. That's right. I've been nominated for Best Personal Development Podcaster in the 2025 Women Podcasters Awards. You can head to womenpodcasters.com/awards and scroll down to where it says vote, fill out the Google form, and cast your vote for me, Ryan Watkin, host of the Raising Wild Hearts podcast. Thank you so much for your time and for supporting the show, and I will be here next week to dive into another amazing interview with you. Thank you so much for voting, and I will talk to you soon.